3, 2, 1, go!
Hello, Morgan.
Hi, Chris. So I'm Morgan Moreau. I am the co-author of the Legends of Corellia and the Cetra series.
Sounds good.
It's your turn.
I am Christopher Bevard. I am the author of Junkman, which is available now for pre-order through 4HP. Comes out on May 1st. Very exciting.
Awesome. That's very exciting. Is it your first book, or have you done some others in 4HP?
This is my first with 4HP, actually.
Oh,
So
that's
it's
great.
not my first book, but my first book with 4HP. So very, very cool.
Very exciting. All right, so we have 3 questions we get to ask each other,
We do.
and I guess I'll get started.
Cool.
So if you had to swap lives with a fictional character for 1 week, who would it be?
So this was unreasonably difficult, and I had to sort of wrangle this. So I ended up with 2. The first one I thought of was actually a movie character, and I thought, well, we're talking about books, so probably I should have a book character as well. So my book character would be Jake Epping from 11/22/63, Stephen King.
Okay.
For a very specific reason that has nothing to do with John Kennedy. Okay. So in the book, as everyone knows, hope this doesn't spoil anything, Jake goes back in time to try and prevent the assassination of John Kennedy. And when he goes back in time, he ends up in 1958. All right. So what I would do is make sure I had as much money as I could from now, right? I'd go back to 1958, which puts us at about 3 years after the golden age of comics, right? Right after EC was forced to dissolve and all that. And nobody cared about those comics then because it was all over. They were washed up and you could get them in the back rooms of bookstores for so cheap. And I would go back and I would hit indie bookstores every single day for the rest of the 1950s. And I would just have barrels of books and comics that I could bring back with me to the present. Because, you know, I'm not going to be able to prevent the assassination. So I might as well stock up on ECs and all the pre-code horror comics that I can while they're still like a dime, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a great plan, but I'm sitting here thinking, okay, money has changed numerous times.
It's only a plan that a total comic obsessive idiot would come up with, but that's what I got. So
You could do it though. Like you could go to the bank and say, "Do you have any bills from the 50s?"
Totally.
Yes, you could do it.
Old money. Or I just need a lot of change. Like
yes.
Yeah.
I like this plan.
You want to hear my movie one?
Yes.
So my movie one would be Kirsty Cotton from the Hellraiser series.
Why is that?
Because she doesn't die until like the 5th movie. And up until that point, she just gets to kind of play cat and mouse with the Cenobites, and they just let her. And she sees all kinds of wild, cool stuff. So I think I would, if I could just know I could go in there and see all the stuff that's in Hellraiser and get off the hook. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be fun.
I like it.
But I'd stop short of the 5th movie when she dies. So
that's fair.
How about you?
Okay, so for me, if we're just talking book characters, my immediate thought was Mrs. Bennet from Pride and Prejudice. Okay. And I'm not going to do spoiler warning or anything because this is like a 200-year-old book. So,
I wouldn't worry about it.
But essentially part of like the satire and the commentary is about how like uncouth the Bennets are and everything. And it's because they don't have the same amount of money that people who are equally as uncouth or even worse, doing the same things.
Right.
And quite honestly, if you are in a situation where you've got 5 daughters in the Regency period who are a part of the gentry class, so they can't get jobs, right? They can't support themselves.
True.
They do, in fact, have to get married. And when you haven't saved for dowries for them, it becomes like this critical situation before your elderly husband croaks.
That's fair.
So if I were Mrs. Bennet or could trade places with her for a week, I would spend that time being much more rational in my explanations of my behavior so that people didn't spend all their time just talking down about me. Because like the information is correct, just the delivery is wrong.
That's very practical. Yeah, that's a good approach.
But since you did a movie too, I'm also going to do not a movie, but a TV show. Okay. I would be Buffy from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Beautiful choice. Come on.
The reason for this is there are numerous instances throughout the entire show that absolutely just make me angry because she's the one who is having to like work the jobs and do all of the killing and take care of everybody. But they're the ones who like will kick her out of their house and just
Good
treat her
point.
poorly.
Point.
And she never says everybody is treating her poorly or only thinking about themselves or expecting everything out of her.
That
And
is a good point.
it always bothers me in media where like you get to basically shit on a character
Yeah.
and it's unjustified and they never go back and address it.
Yeah, you're right. That is true. And that happens in a lot of shows. That's true.
It does. My latest one that made me mad was Our Flag Means Death, but we won't get into that because I could talk about that for 30
Yeah, Buffy's a good one. There's a lot of you could work with Buffy, plus all the cool stuff you get to do. Again, like Kirsty, you get to see some cool stuff if you knew that you could like warp back to Morgan, If you were stuck as Buffy, that'd be a different story, but
Yeah. Buffy has a hard time, which,
Buffy has
is
a
her
rough
lot.
life during the course of that show.
Then, like, why does she pick out such bad friends? Like,
Finding
why
Dracula,
surround
fickle
yourself?
friends, yeah, mom died, everything. Just everything that could possibly happen to her goes down the pipe. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, number 2, I guess, is our if we're finished with that one, because I think those were excellent choices on both of our parts.
Absolutely. Okay.
All right, number 2. What is the most author-coded thing about you that has nothing to do with writing? That's an interesting. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. Let's hear yours.
Okay. So I am someone who can read a book and then debate the things that happen in that book repeatedly for extended periods of time.
Okay.
And it's not necessarily tearing it apart because of plot holes. It's analyzing choices that were made.
That makes total sense.
Like my friends have heard all of my rants. They've heard about how Dumbledore just needed to bring everybody together with a good PowerPoint presentation. They've heard, they've heard my whole like Bella should have left Edward shtick when he took I think it was her engine out of her car.
Okay.
So
that seems justifiable. Yeah.
That is justifiable. Look, Twilight is the most frustrating thing that I've ever read, and like I will read it again just to be refrustrated. That's how I am.
Everybody has those. Yeah, no, I think that's true. I think, yeah, I mean, I think I probably do the same thing to a certain extent. I mean, I think there's certainly an element of, yeah. I mean, I mean, I think I am sort of picking them apart though when that happens. I think there is sort of a pick apart thing happening, with that. Yeah. I think mine would be, and I feel like this is sort of author coded, but I don't necessarily intend it to be. I just tend to obsessively make notes about things. Just stuff. I mean, like random things I see in my day to day, like commuting to work and stuff like that. I guess it's for the purpose later on of incorporating into some sort of writing, but in general, it's just sort of to kind of collect experiences, I guess, things that I'm seeing that are sort of in the landscape that are interesting. A lot of which have never made it into anything that I've written, but some of which have. But I feel like the thing with, I don't know. I feel like if you write, everything that you do with books is somehow author coded in a way, right? I mean,
I agree.
Yeah.
Because like I think part of being an author is being observational and being curious, and I think that goes along with the note taking because I'm like that too. I have a history degree and a political science degree, and so I've basically been taking notes my entire life at this point.
That's true. Yeah.
But like all of that information, it informs the way that I think about the world and like how I think about social dynamics, and it goes into the writing even if it's not a direct one-on-one correlation.
Right, same. And I think I mean, I don't think there's any way around that. If you've written anything that's happening, right?
But it's funny. I've seen people who are like, I don't read anything. I don't really pay attention to anything. When I write, and then I'll step away from it. And I don't understand that process. I'm not here to poo-poo on anybody's process because I think you can accomplish a lot of things, the same thing in a lot of ways. But I don't know. I think that who I am as a writer is a collection of my experiences and observations over time.
Yeah, and I feel like I would lose. I would be letting go of a whole lot of cool ideas if I just ignored stuff. You know what I mean? It's like there are weird little things I picked up here and there that, like, if I hadn't seen that and worked it into something, Junkman included, and then everything that's followed it, it would be very strange. I don't think I could go through life that way. It's a very odd walling off of the process for me. But whatever works for people. There are people who say that you have to write every single day too, and I don't necessarily do that. I mean, I write a lot. I wouldn't say I write every single day without fail in some sort of regimented way.
Yeah, I don't write every day, but every day I do something that will contribute toward the writing when I
Right.
get around to it.
That makes sense.
And it may just be simply, oh, I'm going to set aside this time and plan to write. That might be what I do,
Right.
or I might actually be doing something like putting together an outline or editing. But I don't know, like my mind is always focused on writing, and it's
Same,
always
same.
in preparation. And so maybe that's the most author coded thing that I do is everything is sort of around when I'm going to actually take that time and write, and then doing the actual writing.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I feel like
Mhm.
I do a lot of dancing around actually writing when I'm working on something. There's there's research, there's looking up weird little things. Like, my wife jokes that my Google search history must just be some sort of nightmare. It is. I mean, there are things in there that make no sense to, it's just ridiculous. But yeah, it's part of it. I mean,
I think we're all like that though. Like our search history, when I go and search up something that's kind of sus, I'll be like, "I'm sorry, Mr. FBI agent. This is for my book. I promise."
I'm not saying.
And
That's fair. That's fair.
Mhm.
That's fair. All right.
Well, I guess that takes us to our last question. So, if your book got an unofficial cosplay trend, what would it be?
This is the easiest question in the world because for my particular situation, mainly because Junkman focuses on a guy who essentially inherits what turns out to be a possessed homemade Halloween costume. So without question, the unofficial cosplay would be the costume. I mean, it wouldn't be cute, it wouldn't be sexy, it would look like the apocalypse. I mean, it would just be terrible. Every con would just be shambling, horrific homemade costume people. But that would definitely, no question, be the costume. And I'll have it with me at PopCon May 8th through 10th, which I will be attending, people. So come see the Junkman, come see it, photo ops.
That's pretty cool. I
It's gonna
will
be cool.
say, as long as I've been going to cons, I think it would fit in with some of the other stuff that I've seen, like
Fair.
the sinners costumes. Have you seen Sinners?
No.
Okay, so there, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there
Oh,
is a
Sinners?
scene. Sinners, yes.
So, Sinners, yes, 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 yeah,
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 so you know
yeah,
the scene where Remick is singing.
yeah.
That particular scene has been cosplayed and performed at numerous
Nice.
cons since that
Nice.
movie came out.
Very
And
cool.
I hope it happens at PopCon. I'm so excited.
All
And I
right.
think it
Anyone
could
watching
happen at
this,
PopCon.
that's your mission. Cosplay it.
If I see anybody in those costumes, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna like initiate because I have
That's
to.
pretty cool.
And that's the great thing about PopCon is there were so many wonderful costumes and like cosplay opportunities and performance opportunities last
Cool.
year. So I'm looking forward to going back.
Yeah, this will be my
And so,
first one. So
oh, you are going to love it.
yeah,
And like
yeah.
they had our booth, like our table booth over near this soda stand, by the way, where you could buy and get unlimited refills of soda. So,
That's
like,
fair. That's fair.
I hope that happens again, and we can just all be hyped up on sugar
I
and enjoying the cosplay.
I will I'll be hyped up on coffee if that's the situation. Yeah, that sounds cool. No, I hit Fan Expo, I hit C2, E2 every year here in Chicago. But yeah, I've never done PopCon. It looks really cool. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. And that is for the viewers May 8th through 10th. And again, come check us out. I don't know how many authors are going to be there from 4HP. I don't
I
actually know
don't
how
even
many
know. It seems like there's a lot more. I think 14 or so this year
Nice. Nice.
than there was
Cool.
last year. But it's really exciting to get all of us in like the same space
Yeah.
and because like we had great panels and we like were goofing around selling books and you develop this rhythm. It was wonderful.
I love doing cons. I think, I
Mhm.
know people in the horror community who are a little reticent to do it sometimes. They're just like, man, I do like one day and I'm exhausted and talk. I love it. By the end of a third or fourth day, yeah, I'm a little bit tired, but I think the whole thing is super fun.
I think
So
that's why they put us by the soda stand so we wouldn't get tired.
so everyone just remains as caffeinated as humanly possible from start to finish.
Yes,
And
it's
you
great.
just go home and you've like forgotten parts of it, and it's like, yeah, it's all it's all a blur. Very cool.
I'm gonna confess, I had a really hard time with this question at first, and then it occurred to me that the whole plot of one of my books is about like kidnapping mermaids and like maiming them to get their scales so that you can make jewelry and
Got it.
other like clothes. And so my unofficial cosplay would be people who had these really horrific outfits that were decorated with bloody mermaid scales
Oh, that's
everywhere. I'm talking
incredible.
jewelry and
That's
dresses,
outstanding. That is
but they
outstanding.
don't recognize the horror in what they're wearing. That's the key part.
Okay. That's good. I like that. I would love for someone to see someone cosplay that. Bloody
Like,
mermaid skins.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm down.
And I cannot believe it took me that long to realize that that was the obvious answer.
There are a lot of things you could do with that too. Like mine is more
Mhm.
limited. Mine is just it's sort of described. It's like a lot of people would be doing the same thing, but that one sounds way more open ended.
Is and like the great thing about writing fantasy is you borrow elements from different eras and different things that you've read. And so like in Legends of Corellia, which is where this happens, um it's not really like medieval or Renaissance-y. It could be, but it doesn't have to be. So you could show up in your Bridgerton attire with the
Right,
bloody
right, right. You
scales
could
and all of
adapt it.
that, and it would fit in perfectly because it's still in that world.
That's true. That's true. That would be cool. That'd be cool. Yeah, no, it's gonna be fun, man. I'm looking forward to it. That's a great answer. That would be really cool. Really cool.
When we
Awesome.
were at PopCon last year, there was someone who was selling like dragon scale jewelry, and so Kate bought me a necklace and some earrings and stuff, and so since then she's been telling everybody that I'm running around with mer skills that I stole. So
There you
apparently I'm part of the evil crowd in my books.
Don't dial it down. Don't just play it up.
No,
Play
no,
it
I'm
up.
embracing it. I'm in my
Ride it.
villain era.
Yep, 100%, 100%. There's so much to be said for a villain era. I'm a big fan of villains. Cool. Well, this was
Those
fun.
are our questions. So like,
Yeah.
what are you doing after this release? What are you working
So
on?
after this release, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. So I'm gonna kind of embark on a short little book tour here through Illinois, most likely. Illinois, Wisconsin, Indiana, hopefully. Hit half a dozen or so bookstores for Junkman. My podcast called Cicatrix from Sensory Eclipse Media is about to unleash its second season, also in May, at the end of May. So May is going to be pretty exciting. But Cicatrix is about a record producer from Chicago who essentially goes on the hunt for his missing father throughout the rural Midwest. And it turns into this whole small town mystery, occult horror, cosmic horror situation. Season 1 came out 2 years ago and did really, really well on very little advertising. I kind of wanted to see what it would do sort of just through word of mouth, and it's done well. So I launched a Patreon in January for it, and we're about to do season 2. So that's really, really exciting. That's what I've been mostly working on now. And actually, I think looking at doing a series of novels that are set in the universe of the podcast as well. It's just it's a small town in rural Illinois. So very exciting projects for the rest of the year. There's a lot of cool stuff happening. So how about you?
Sounds like you're going to be busy.
Yeah.
Well,
Always.
I actually relocated to Wisconsin from Alabama back in August. And so
wow.
I've been acquainting myself with the local bookstores, and I've done some appearances in Chicagoland and in Milwaukee in that area. So that's been an opportunity that I didn't have before that I'm really taking advantage of. And I'm meeting not only like great local authors, but also some great readers as well.
Nice.
And Kate and I just finished the last book in the Legends of Corellia series. So we're doing our final read through. I'm hoping we can submit it to the publisher sometime this weekend.
Very cool. Congrats.
It's been a long time working on this book.
Yeah.
It is. It usually takes us about 4 to 6 months to write a book, and this one has taken a lot longer, more than double the time. But I don't feel bad about that because as like the ending of a story, you really want it, you want it to be good and you want it to hit all of the points. And so
100%.
I'm really proud of what we've produced, even though it took a little bit longer than normal. But we have no planned breaks. We already know what we're starting on as soon as this is submitted.
I never have breaks.
And then I have started working on, because everything that I've released so far has been with a co-author, and I'm working on a standalone right now.
Oh, very nice.
And I'm a very terrible pantser, so I have no idea how it's going to end, but we'll see what happens.
I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm somewhere between a planner and a pantser. I don't think it's a good idea. It's not a good idea to map the whole entire thing out from start to finish from the very beginning. Plotzer. I think that's the term for it, actually, is plotzer versus pantser. I don't know. I always have a general idea of where things are going to go. But yeah, I don't think I'm not a big believer in mapping out every single last little detail, especially with horror because you just kind of want to see where it goes. It's like you want to just kind of leave the set pieces open, so you can kind of just experiment with what's really going to freak people out. So I tend to have sort of a loose framework and not go too crazy mapping out all the details. So
we tried to be very regimented with Legends of Corellia when we started writing it. And we were like, it's going to be 3 books, and this is all the points we're going to hit, and here are the points we're going to hit in those books. It doubled in size, so now it's a 6-book series.
of course it did.
And I still feel like we might revisit it in the that world in the future sometime, because there's still more stories there to tell.
Yeah.
But like we very quickly figured out after the first book that there was no way that we were going to fit this entire story into 3 books. I mean, there's so much that's going
fair.
on. And, there's an argument that you can make each book longer, but then I don't think that works, because each book is a contained story within the bigger plot.
Right.
So
yeah, that's been the challenge for me with thinking about sort of expanding the podcast story out into a series of novels. And it's not something that lends itself to a traditional series where you're following one character. Because it's as much about the town and sort of what's happened to the town over time as it is about any one person. So I've sort of mapped out this plan for novels set in the town or around the town in different periods of time in the town's history, with a lot of character overlap in different eras, which has been really fun to play around with, because it kind of frees up the podcast a little bit to where it's like I'm not trying to cram so much into the podcast. Then I'm able to just kind of tell the story, and then there's going to be this other kind of peripheral stuff as well. So it's been a lot of fun to write. But yeah, I totally agree with like the way it just expands and expands, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, this is 3 times the size of what I was originally going to do, and this is going to be so much more work. But it's been fun.
It is fun. Now, I will tell you, we had a specific event planned, which was going to kill off a character, and it was going to be the turning point in the story. But then something else happened, and I had to tell Kate. I said, we can no longer do what we were planning for like the last year, because if you're insisting on us keeping this chapter, then that person is going to exit, and then they won't be around to be killed.
Yeah.
And and that was fine, but then we had to figure out, okay, so if that's no longer that person's story, then what is that person's story going forward? What purpose do they serve?
Yeah, that makes sense. I've had those moments where you kind of have a plan. You're like, well, this is not going anywhere where I thought it was going to go, but I just kind of have to write it, because it's I like where it's going, but this is defying everything I thought I knew about what was going to go on. I mean, Jumpman was a good example, like anything. So
to me that makes sense, though, because I think in writing you learn more about your characters than you originally considered.
Absolutely, totally.
Yeah. And then you realize, oh well, they wouldn't do that, or this can no longer happen. So it's fine. I'm good with it.
Yeah,
you have to be adaptable to be a writer.
Yeah, totally. And I think it pays to kind of leave that open. To leave those opportunities open to kind of play around with the story. That's part of the fun of it. It's like the unexpected stuff. Cool. Well, again, my name is Christopher Bevard. Thank you all so much, and I look forward to seeing everybody at PopCon. Come see us May 8th through 10th. Come see me and the Junk Man.
And come see me, Morgan Moreau, and my co-author Kate Jenkins for the Cicatrix series and Legends of Corellia.
Very cool. Thanks so much, Morgan. It was fun talking to you.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye.
3, 2, 1, go.